As we continue to celebrate the sights and the sounds of our music this Reggae Month, it's also Heart Month, an important reminder to pay a little extra attention to our health. Hi there, welcome to this edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Katie Aloy Knight. We have a wonderful show packaged just for you. More when we return.
Hey there, I'm Landy, your friendly guide to NLA Connect, the National Land Agency's customer engagement platform. Today we'll be navigating our page with some frequently asked questions.
Hey Landy, what's NLA Connect?
Hey there. NLA Connect is a simple, user-friendly online platform that's available 24/7 to customers, where they can submit various requests about land-related matters.
Hi Landy, how do I submit a request to NLA Connect?
Hi customer. Once on the platform, click Request and fill out the form with your details. Choose the relevant division and select the type of request. Pick your preferred response method, review, and consent to the privacy notice. Then submit. You will receive a case number to track your request.
Tell me something, Landy. Can you submit more than one request at a time?
No, you can only submit one request type at a time. Once that case is closed, feel free to send in another.
Landy, am I able to track my request?
Yes, to track your request status, click the Status tab, enter your email or case number, verify with the code sent to your email, and then view updates ranging from submitted to closed.
How does the NLA treat my data?
Our privacy policy is in accordance with the Data Protection Act 2020. As a result, some of the technical measures used to protect your data includes firewalls, encryptions, and regular system updates. Also, our employees are only provided with your information on a need-to-know basis. Still have questions? Visit www.nla.gov.jm. Go to Applications, select NLA Connect, and check out our FAQs tab for more information. NLA Connect, your voice, our priority.
Heart Month in Jamaica is a time set aside to shine a light on one of the biggest threats to our health, cardiovascular disease. From high blood pressure to heart attacks and a stroke, heart disease continues to affect families across the island. In this week's Get the Facts, we take a closer look at how serious this issue is, why it matters to all of us, and what we can do to protect the one organ we can't live without, our heart. Let's join in on the conversation.
Welcome to Get the Facts, the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives of national interest. I'm your host, Theodore Henry. It's Heart Month, and today we unplug the risks to heart health and well-being as we examine cardiovascular disease, a major health concern affecting many in Jamaica. For this discussion, we have with us Professor Trevor Ferguson, Director, Epidemiology Research Unit at the University of West Indies, UWI, and he's also Chair of the National Committee on Non-Communicable Diseases. He's here to tell us everything we need to know about cardiovascular disease prevalence, its causes, and of course, management in Jamaica. Professor Ferguson, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you very much, Theodore. It's a pleasure to be here and to have this opportunity to share information with the Jamaican people.
All right, let's jump right into getting some facts. Cardiovascular disease. Everybody has heard about this, but what is it?
Right, so cardiovascular diseases refers to conditions of the heart and blood vessels. So the cardiac from the heart and then vascular from blood vessels, and include conditions such as hypertension, heart disease or ischemic heart disease, angina, heart attacks, stroke, and other diseases that may affect the blood vessels, including blood flow to the legs and so on. So it's a number of conditions that together are responsible for a large proportion of death as well as ill health in Jamaica and globally, and therefore is a very, very important component of public health.
So I was wrong when I said, what is it? Cardiovascular disease is a group.
It's a group of conditions, yes.
Right.
So,
right. So you mentioned that it's responsible for a large amount of death. We usually hear about cancer. What does cardiovascular disease rank against cancer numbers in Jamaica, for example?
right. So cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death globally, as well as in Jamaica.
Oh.
So in Jamaica, cardiovascular diseases together may cause about 40% of all deaths. In 2020, about 7,000 persons died from cardiovascular disease. And this is about double what we would have from all cancers. So cardiovascular disease is the major health crisis in Jamaica and globally, and of course deserves our attention. We need to know as much as we can so that we can prevent it, and of course for those who have the condition to treat properly.
Wow, crisis. Prof, you used the word crisis. Very prevalent. Are there certain groups of Jamaicans who are at higher risk of cardiovascular disease?
Yes. So focusing on the major events, which include heart attack and strokes, then we do have groups that are at high risk for heart attack and stroke, including those who are older, so persons, say, 50 years and above, persons who have underlying health conditions, including hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterol levels, or obesity, are at significantly higher risk of heart disease, and therefore those persons need to be treated more aggressively to ensure that they are meeting the treatment targets and to prevent the onset of these major events such as heart attacks and strokes.
Hypertension. Now, why does hypertension contribute so significantly to cardiovascular diseases?
Yeah. So, of course, hypertension really refers to elevated pressure in the blood vessels. Of course, the blood vessels go through the entire body, and it's a large area that has to be covered. So when persons have high blood pressure, it damages the walls of the blood vessels, and over time that causes the buildup of plaque and narrowing of the blood vessels, which will lead to obstruction of flow. So if a clot forms and blocks a blood vessel, if it occurs in the heart, then it leads to a heart attack. If it occurs in the brain, then it would lead to a stroke. And additionally, sometimes damage to the blood vessels, they, especially in the brain, may become thinner and therefore causes the risk of bleeding in the brain. And that's another cause of a stroke. So it could be due to blockage of blood vessels leading to heart attack or stroke, or bleeding in the brain, which would be what we call hemorrhagic stroke.
Right. Okay, so you've laid out some of the major risk factors, especially those underlying conditions. We've underlined hypertension in particular. What about lifestyle? How does lifestyle contribute?
So lifestyle factors are very important. So in terms of the healthy diets and physical activity will contribute to reducing the risk of hypertension and heart disease. Now, the problem is that most of us have unhealthy diets. So the things that we eat are not good for us. So high diets, high in salt, high in fats, high in sugar.
Doc, you're going too fast. Salt, fat, sugar. What else?
Well, those are the main ones. Right. Of course, the total caloric intake, because sometimes you could eat a good thing, but you're eating a lot of it. And then that will cause obesity. So the salt, fats, and sugars will cause damage by themselves. But if you're eating a lot of fruits, say mangoes, and you're eating those dozens a day, then you're going to be consuming a lot of calories and you become obese or overweight.
Interesting.
And then that also causes a problem. So it's both the quality and the quantity of the foods that we're eating. So we need to ensure that our diets are good and that we're not consuming excess calories. Physical activity is also important. And then there are the harmful habits. So cigarette smoking is very, very dangerous. We recommend that all persons should stop smoking completely. Alcohol consumption, especially high levels of alcohol consumption, is dangerous. And therefore we advise that persons, if they use alcohol, should do so in very small quantities. And if you do not drink, then you should not start.
It's interesting, Professor Ferguson, because you gave us a little snippet of an age group, 50s, 60s, but then we've gone on to talk about lifestyle, increasing risk, and I'm not hearing age anymore. Sitting a lot, eating too much of certain things. You know the Jamaican style of you buy maybe a box lunch, there's a mountain of rice with so it sounds like these lifestyle risk factors don't necessarily just belong in the 50 to 60 range.
Well, it actually starts in childhood. Okay. And we actually now have a problem with obesity in children. So if we'll just look at the size of the children in school, and a large number of children are obese. So healthy diet really starts from infancy, and you want to develop that. And some of the patterns of eating that we will practice over time will be those that we form in our early years.
Right.
So, and also persons who are physically active when they're young are more likely to be physically active when they're older. Additionally, there are some risk factors, including things like high cholesterol, which may be genetic, and therefore persons may have some of these risks from very early. Also, hypertension. There are some persons who have familial risk factors and will develop hypertension while they're very young. So while the focus is on the older persons who have the events, the factors leading up may start in childhood and will actually become more manifest over time. And some persons with very high risk factors may actually have events when they're young. So persons may end up with hypertension while in their teenage years, or diabetes in their teenage years, may have a heart attack in their 30s or 40s. So these are factors. While the focus or the highest risk category is among older persons, young persons are also at risk, especially if they have high levels of underlying risk factors.
Professor Ferguson, I am reasonably sure that you have shocked some people just now. But we are going to go to a break now. We want to learn more about cardiovascular disease. We want to learn especially about the treatment and the care. But let's take a quick break right here. When we return, we're going to look at how it can be prevented, treated, and managed. This is Get the Facts. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Every year, thousands of babies are born with a congenital heart defect, a condition that affects how their hearts are formed and how blood flows through their bodies. Some children show signs early, others later, but early detection can save lives. If a baby has trouble breathing, feeding, or turns bluish in color, seek medical help right away. This congenital heart defect awareness period, learn the signs, support families, and remember, every heartbeat matters.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. We're talking about cardiovascular disease, risk factors, prevalence, causes, and management with Professor Trevor Ferguson, Director, Epidemiology Research Unit at the University of the West Indies. Professor Ferguson, let's start talking a little bit about the management, early detection, all of that. You mentioned in our first segment that you have factors that contribute and you have events where you're actually having a problem with the heart. What are some of the early warning signs to events like that?
So in terms of when persons are developing, say, we could look at heart attacks and strokes separately.
Okay.
So for heart disease, one of the first symptoms that persons may have may be chest pain or chest discomfort with activity. So you used to be able to walk around regularly, without any discomfort, but now there's this pressure or pain in the chest when you walk and you have to stop and rest.
Right.
That suggests that something may be going on. Shortness of breath, so you're climbing stairs and you're out of breath and you're beginning to see that you're just not able to do the things that you used to be able to do. That may suggest that there's some underlying heart disease. Other things like swelling of the legs, because fluid retention is one of the complications of long-standing heart disease. So that may also require being checked out. So definitely persons who are having chest pain or chest discomfort, shortness of breath, swelling of the legs would be important. If persons develop wheezing as a new sign, you're not asthmatic, but now you start to have wheezing at nights, that may also be a sign of heart disease. So these are sometimes subtle manifestations that we need to pick up early and seek attention. Of course, the sudden severe chest pain that feels like, we in medicine we talk about a sense of impending doom, that you need to get to the emergency room right away. So because there are treatments that need to be administered early. Similarly, for stroke, persons most often will have sudden onset of weakness, say in an arm or leg, drooping off the face. Sometimes it may be slurred speech or some other aspects of decrease or change in the way that you normally function mentally. If you're having episodes like those, then those definitely require being checked out. Dizziness, instability can sometimes be another factor. The severe stroke will often present with weakness on one side of the body, say right side or left side, usually weakness on the same side of the face. And again, for the stroke, we want persons to get to the hospital as soon as possible. Usually there are some treatments that, if administered within the first 3 hours, we call those thrombolytics, can have a significant improvement in outcomes. So for both heart attack and stroke, getting to the hospital early is going to be very important. For the other milder symptoms, is getting checked out as soon as possible. So some things, go to the emergency room. For the other more severe symptoms, get to the hospital or see your doctor at the earliest convenience.
Got it. There's a consideration in this conversation in that you may not have those early warning signs. But I'm considering the question. You might not have the early warning signs. So early screening or preventative screening, what role does that play?
So for persons who are at high risk, say people with high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, first of all, we should screen for these conditions generally for unselected population. So everybody, say 40 years and older, should be having high cholesterol screen, diabetes screen, and high cholesterol, high blood pressure as well. So getting those screenings done regularly, even if you have no symptoms and you feel perfect, is important. If the condition is detected and we put you on treatment, so if persons are diagnosed with high blood pressure or diabetes is diagnosed and we start treatment, or your cholesterol is high and we start treatment, the studies have shown that treatment of these conditions prevent the first event. So the first thing really is to treat these underlying, we call them intermediate risk factors, we want to put it that way, to prevent the onset of the heart attacks. For persons who are at high risk, there are other things that sometimes can be done. There is a role for ECG as a screening test at in some settings. So those are things that can be done. And of course, being on medication, following through with your medication and being treated to goal. So one of the things is that sometimes people may have high blood pressure and diabetes, they may be taking medication, but they're not achieving their targets. So it's important to discuss with your doctor, what is my blood pressure target? What is my blood sugar target? And you actually treat to get to the target levels. And that will decrease the risk of an event. So because as you mentioned, sometimes the first manifestation of heart disease is the heart attack, and sometimes it's actually sudden death. So persons may not even live to get to the hospital. The diagnosis is made on post-mortem. So that we definitely want to do our best to minimize.
Definitely, definitely. You had mentioned getting to there are treatment options available in the event of an event. Could you just very briefly discuss with us some of those treatment options?
So let's think about heart attacks, for example. So a person who presents with a heart attack, we can give treatments to prevent further or heart attacks, and sometimes to open up the blood vessel that was blocked. So it includes things like getting aspirin, getting blood thinners. If it's appropriate, they may give medications to break down a clot that is blocking the vessel. And there are treatments where you can actually go into the blood vessel and remove the clot or put in a stent to keep that blood vessel open. But those require being presenting early. And of course, it's a decision that is made by the doctor who is doing that evaluation, the cardiologist, to determine who would qualify for, say, thrombolytic therapy or for stent placement, etc. But the minimum is to get to the hospital early and be on these medications that prevent clot formation, prevent the development of further plaque, improve blood pressure treatment, and so on. Similarly for stroke, for persons who have blockage to the blood vessels, medications like aspirin again help to prevent further stroke. There is a role for thrombolytic therapy in stroke as well that has to be done within the first 3 or 3.5 hours of the onset of symptoms. More advanced treatments include approaches to removing the clot. These are not as readily available, but at least in some centers that can be done. But early treatment is very, very important. So once you have symptoms, get to the hospital, get it clarified, determine whether or not you qualify for these more advanced treatments. And if not, then at least get the regular standard treatment that's going to improve your outcomes.
Professor Ferguson, thank you so much. And some very practical steps that you've given us there at the end. And this has been a very interesting discussion. Thank you, Professor Ferguson, for sharing such valuable information. Cardiovascular diseases remain a serious health concern. But as we've heard, prevention, early detection, proper management can save lives. Remember, maintaining a healthy lifestyle and staying informed are key steps toward protecting your heart and your overall well-being. This has been Get the Facts. Our guest was Professor Trevor Ferguson, Director, Epidemiology Research Unit at the University of the West Indies and Chair of the National Committee
On non-communicable diseases.
Thank you, sir. Until next time, I am Theodore Henry. Thank you for watching and take care.
The impact of water theft goes far beyond missing supply. It affects communities, infrastructure, and the cost of water for everyone else. In this feature, we take a closer look at water theft and how it affects the nation as a whole. Watch now to learn more.
This is one of the illegal connections that is made into the network, and we're going to track this line to see where it goes.
The live line.
Come guys, lift the hose, come on man. Typical example of what happened. So when as the team is in the air, then they will do things like this. As you see, the water is just running to waste.
Water theft is a self-serving act that has wide impact on our society, one that surpasses the idea of sticking it to the man. It reduces national availability when intended supply cannot reach schools, businesses, or legally connected households.
You have to have the pressure to get the flow so it can go throughout the network to serve our customers. Illegal connections are uncontrolled points of connection on our network. These are connections that are not supervised and controlled, wherein people normally make it and the water run to waste.
It raises the national cost when the government absorbs the loss through infrastructure repairs and has to truck water to those without. It undermines public trust when law-abiding customers experience inconsistent supply while seeing others receive water illegally.
It also poses safety to the workers of NWC, where some persons utilizes the NWC pipeline for grounding purposes when they are also extracting electricity. So when our workers are there to remove it, then it becomes a safety risk. Sometimes illegal connections run across other person's property, and these illegal lines from JPS as well that they utilizes also goes across, which can cause harm to individuals not knowing that it is there. It can also cause contamination to our system, wherein there is no system set up to prevent the water from coming back into our system when the illegal connection is taken. So they take it, store it at one point, and it can also return to the system and supply to somebody else. So they can now have a contaminated source, and it comes back from that contaminated source into the system and causes danger to persons below that point of the connection.
Creating a health risk for all while taking water from health facilities, which only compounds an already serious matter.
As you can see, it's expanding foam. It comes in a bottle, they bore the line, spray it into the line, and expands and fill the space. This restricts the flow of water in the line, so persons who are supposed to get this commodity, or good paying customers, don't get a drip of water when this one expands and blocks the line.
The length that people go to obtain illegal connections is sometimes extreme. During these excessive moments, pipes are cut, drilled, or punctured without engineering standards. Water flows unmetered and uncontrolled. System pressure drops downstream. Leaks develop around illegal fittings. Dirt or wastewater can be drawn into pipes during low pressure, and burst mains become more likely. And so communities may experience reduced supply, intermittent service, and no water during peak hours.
I'll make mention of our system up in Malvern. Because of the high pressure in the line in Malvern, they will take away the current, make the electricity go away as well to get it. And then now when the current is restored, they will have the water. By doing that, it affects the entire Malvern community. And we have to do constant removal of these illegal connections to make sure that the community is provided and serve the community as it is intended to do so.
Getting rid of illegal connections is a battle that the NWC continues to fight. But in doing so, the Commission also has the task of making sure that legitimate customers are not affected.
We have to conduct operations like these, and the end result is improve water pressure to the area, improve flow. Persons who aren't getting the commodity receive the commodity as they should, and our system operates at its optimal and to its full capacity.
Every illegal connection affects more than one household. It impacts entire communities, national water security, and public health. By having legal connections, Jamaicans will have guaranteed water quality, water that is delivered through approved materials and monitored systems, and thus a better experience for all. And the NWC is committed to making this happen.
We are more than happy to accommodate those who come to the office willing to have their service regularized. We do whatever it takes to make sure that we meet them pathway to restore good service to their community and to their homes. Please feel free to come to the NWC, talk to us. We always have a program that we can fit you and make sure that you benefit from one way or the other.
We have come to the end of today's show. I do hope that you enjoyed this package. To catch a repeat of this or any other, feel free to log on to our website at jis.gov.jm. And until next time, I'm Katie Aloy Knight. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.